Too often people start training their core at pretty much a high level. They're doing crunches, they're doing push-ups, stuff that really create bracing or this high threshold technique, when actually we need to start at a much more fundamental level. And a better place to start is rolling. We're gonna get down and rolling. I'm gonna show you actually how to start rolling and work your way all the way up to standing. A good place to start is looking at a little bit more lower level, because high threshold, sometimes that's a state that actually overcomes or overwhelms some of the smaller postural muscles that we need to do. And here's a good example. A good place to always start is just rolling. And most of us try to start with these higher level of activity, but let's get back to the basics and make sure we've got good, just fundamental rolling, just like babies roll. So if I'm here and I'm simply gonna lift my head and I'm gonna roll over. And you saw this pretty nice and smooth. And then I'm gonna roll back. Just look at the difference. If I'm in a high threshold state and my prime movers, i.e. hip flexors in this example, kick in, you'll see me do this. And it's more of a type of roll. Go down. And then I go back, you'll see everything, my extensors, all the big muscles have to work. And those should need to work when I'm doing something as simple as rolling. So here, it should look more like this. Raise my head and roll back. And if I'm gonna use my lower body goes and go back. And it's basically what we call disassociating upper versus lower body. And this is a crossover step. So upper body, roll over, lower body doesn't do much of anything. Those big prime movers don't really kick in. Roll back, same thing with the lower body. So I'm gonna use my leg, I'm gonna roll. Upper body kind of falls behind. So now if we wanna train that a little bit to kind of deactivate those big prime movers so you are not doing what we call a log roll. A log roll may be okay for certain situations, but start and make sure you can disassociate. So go ahead and think about placing your hand here, lifting your head. Always let the head lift your head and reach. Not so much straight across, reach over your face, and then nice and easy, and kick that arm out. So now you see me, I'm up on my elbows. And that's how we roll to get out of bed in the mornings, if you think about it. So I'm gonna let that arm tuck through, I'm gonna let this arm go over, and I'm gonna roll back and here. So one more time, upper body, lead with the head, reach across my face, let that elbow touch, kick that elbow through, and there we go. Take that arm through, go over, reach back, and good. So now if I'm gonna do lower body, I just take that leg over. As soon as I touch down, I now get that arm out of the way, come over, now I'm here. Now, what's the reason for rolling? Again, deactivation, but if we wanna maybe make it a little bit harder and create a little bit more of an activation, I'm gonna move this arm on up. Now I'm gonna go hand to knee, roll over. And you see for me, that was pretty easy. I'm gonna look back and roll back. Now, make it harder since that was easy for me. Hand to ankle, head, and roll. And then I'm gonna look back and go. Now, for me, because I got a little bit of an asymmetry, I'm gonna show you the difference. So now I'm up here, I'm gonna go hand to knee, lift my head, and this is, see how that quad wants to kick in? You saw how much easier it was going to the left, how much harder it is for me going to the right. So since it's so much harder going to the right, I won't go here, I'll go right back to that initial thing I did. And you see that one's a little bit harder, I won't roll all the way over, but you see that's the difference. Pretty easy rolling to the left, a little bit more difficulty rolling right. Pretty simple thing to do, something simple you can actually just check out on your own, but eventually you want to get to the point where you're rolling over, and I'll go the easy way so I can demonstrate, back to my elbows. Now where do we go from here? We go right back to quadruped. And from where do we go from quadruped? We can go right back to standing. So here, and I can stand right up, and I can go all the way back down, walk my hands out, quadruped, walk it down, and then start that roll all over again. Now, that went from a roll to a squat. So what are we working on? Standing. We're going from on our back to standing. So a little routine you can work in. So if I want to do lower body, I go over here. I'm up on my elbows. How do we go from here? We go walk straight back. I'm here, and we stand from that position. So a couple different ways we can go from rolling on the ground to standing. But a little thing I tell you to do first, I recommend, just roll from back to belly, belly to back. See if there's a significant asymmetry. See if you have to kick in those big prime movers, because we want to avoid doing that when we're doing some of these fundamental activities first. If you like this little flow on rolling, check out this next video to keep things moving. Ah!